What's up guys, my name is Ace, and with the realistic end of Call of Duty World War II's life cycle with Black Ops 4 coming out right away, we're doing a lot of reflecting back on this game, and one thing that I often get asked about are what are my favorite and least favorite maps in this game. So today, I thought I'd cover part 1, stick on the positive side. We're going to be covering my top 7 favorite maps in CoD World War II. Now my overall opinion of the maps in CoD World War II, if we're just looking at them in general all together, I feel like it was a pretty weak year in the map department. However, there are a bunch of maps in this game that I do enjoy and that I feel are very well designed. So let's start getting into the list here. Keep in mind these are in no particular order. So first up we have Ardennes Forest. Ardennes Forest I feel is a well-designed map. It's a great example of a non-symmetrical map that actually generally plays very well. With this map, there's enough room to breathe, the lanes are separated nicely, I always feel like I have an option for a flank route if I want to try and find one, and generally I feel like the flow is quite good. Now aside from that one big spawn issue that we had more towards the beginning of the game that I don't really see as too much of a problem now, if you spawn in that area, just don't run straight across the bridge. Aside from that one issue, I would say this map is excellent, and it is one of my favorite base maps that came with World War II. This brings us to the next one, and this is actually something that might surprise some people, Sainte Marie Dumont. I've seen a lot of complaints about this map, a lot of people that don't like it, but for me, it just seems to play well. I feel like this is a very well-designed 3-lane map, it's a very structured map, and this makes spawn prediction very, very easy on this map. I think that's one of the reasons I like it so much, is I'm very confident in my spawn knowledge on this, so I always seem to know where the enemies are coming from, which is really nice. Once again, just like with Ardennes Forest, I also like the fact that there's a bit of room to breathe on this map. I rarely feel overwhelmed unless I get myself into an overwhelming situation and it's completely my fault. And that's something that I feel was lacking in this game with many of the other maps. Now the one downside to this map that I'll admit is that middle building, you can sometimes get people that just camp in there and they won't let it go, especially when they get in there with a shotgun. I tend to avoid that middle building and I just play towards the outskirts more often than not, and I find a lot of success with that. So I feel like that's something that you can kind of play around, and I feel like people are just not learning from their mistakes a lot of the times when they keep pushing into that building. This brings us to the next one on the list, and this one's going to be one of the DLC maps. This is Valkyrie. Valkyrie to me feels great. There's an excellent balance between the different playstyles. You can snipe on this map comfortably, and you can run around with a shotgun on this map comfortably, and everything in between. And I just like, in general, how this map tends to flow. There's a lot of ability to flank if you want to flank, or you can just go head on right through the middle, and that's great as well. There's plenty of options, plenty of opportunities on this map, and I really enjoy that. This brings us to the next one on the list, which is again a DLC map. This is Stalingrad. Stalingrad has always reminded me more of a Black Ops 1 style map, and I think this is a very good thing. Black Ops 1 had some of the best maps in the franchise, in my opinion, and there's just something about this map that feels like Black Ops 1. I love the way it tends to play. Once again, a really similar trend here. The maps that I tend to like are the ones that offer a variety of playstyle, they offer flank routes if you want them, and they give you room to breathe. Stalingrad is no exception here. Moving on to the next one, we're getting back into the launch maps. We have Gibraltar. Now this map seems to be kind of hit or miss for people. For a lot of people, they don't like the fact that you can kind of get spawn trapped in Gibraltar pretty hard. They may not spawn kill you, but they can push you back into your spawn, and it can be difficult to break out of sometimes. But I think that's one of the things I kind of like about Gibraltar, is there's a fight over that middle area, and the team that wins that fight over the middle area, they're rewarded for it. So you earn your map control, and then you're rewarded for gaining that map control. At the same time, I feel like there are viable flank routes in this, so if you do get spawn trapped, there are options for you to get out. You're not completely trapped in there, and I feel like Gibraltar handles the balance of this quite well. As a result, I really enjoyed the experience that Gibraltar brought. Next up, we're getting back into the DLCs. This is Egypt. And I know Egypt can be a little bit polarizing because some people find it to be a bit too complex in certain areas, but I really like Egypt. I like the fact that the 3 different lanes on Egypt are really different from each other. You have the one lane that's right out in the open. This one's really dominated by like LMGs and sniper rifles, for instance. Also rifles, I would say. Then you have the middle area, which is more of like a rifle SMG kind of area, but you can hold your own with a shotgun, and if you're a good sniper, you could also kind of hold your own in that area. And then finally, the right-hand side of the map, I would say is a bit more SMG heavy, and I like how all these lanes with their different playstyles kind of intertwine and mingle with each other. There's a lot of room for creativity in your routes on this map. Some people say that it's just too complex. I feel like it's just the right amount of complexity, and therefore Egypt definitely ends up on this list for me. So finally, we have one more map left on this list, and I wanted to save my favorite for last. This is London Docks. London Docks to me is a perfect example of a great Call of Duty map. It's an excellent size, it's not too big, it's not too small, you can always find an engagement if you need it, but if you need to back off, there's almost always room for you to back off and find some relief. The spawns work quite well and they're quite predictable. The engagement distances, the pieces of cover, the power positions all seem to have proper counters. There's a nice variety of playstyles that you can excel with on this. Just in general, I would say London Docks is perfect. There's nothing I would change about this map. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for my top 7 favorite maps in CoD World War II. Of course, we are going to have a part 2 with this, and I'm going to be sharing my top 7 least favorite maps, some of which are my least favorite maps in Call of Duty history. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that one. But of course, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what are your favorite maps in CoD World War II? Are there any that you disagree with me on? Are there any that you feel should have been on this list and weren't? Let me know those thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.